Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's 9 p.m. on a Thursday, and they call me Chris of the Northwest. And we're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're planning that road trip, we'll be caching in the Northwest. And tonight we are going to talk about the Discover Roseburg geocaching event. And as always, live audience, share your thoughts with us too. But we can't get into that until we bring in our restless Rhesus. Some say he's tighter than bark on a tree. And others say he's published a book of his most and least popular poems. It was the best of rhymes. It was the worst of rhymes. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
That was bad. That was really bad.
Actually, I thought it was puntastic.
I don't know. It was all right. Okay. Hey, you know what's better than all right? Better than all right is being here with you guys, getting to meet Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you.
And even better than all of that is the support that we get from our patrons. A big thanks goes out to all of our patrons who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And a special thanks to our corporate Denali level sponsors. That is Landsharks, LANDSHARKZ.ca. They are the online store and brick and mortar store for checking out all your cool geocaching stuff. And our other corporate Denali level sponsors, Gold Country Geotourism. Visit exploregoldcountry.com. Learn about the geotours. Learn about the region. Do not forget to download the app or you're going to be that person. Nobody wants to be that person. All right. Well, and of course, if you want to know more about supporting this lovely little podcast, we encourage you to click that Patreon link right over there on the cachingandw.com website.
Land Monkey.
Yes.
Wet Coaster thought it was punderful.
I'm sure he did. Does that make you feel better, Chris?
It does a little bit, yeah. Thank you.
Well, hey, folks, we're going to encourage you, if you would like to participate, as you often do, through the live chat. And even, even if you're listening or watching this after it's been recorded and you want to share some questions or comments about this here episode, make sure to, if you're not watching live, tag us at cachingandw.com. So, we know that you said something, otherwise we won't, and that'll be really sad. But if you are watching live, make sure to use hashtag Roseburg, ROSEBURG. And then our chat lackey will be monitoring the chat to bring in select questions from people we like.
Wow. Okay. And he also checks spelling. If you don't spell it right, you probably won't get your question asked.
Yeah. So he looks like he's in a bit of a mood tonight, so you better watch it.
If you've ever met him, he's always in a bit of a mood.
Wow, this is also true. Hey, and if you want to, and there you go. And of course, always a reminder to call 253-693-TFTC to leave a comment, ask a question, send us feedback. And send us feedback at cachingandw.com. However, if you also want to share something with the rest of the class, because you brought enough for everybody, and but it doesn't really align with tonight's topic, as a reminder, as always, use hashtag FTAS, hashtag FTAS for the after show. And we'll get to that topic when we get into our general chit chat.
We'll get to it when we get to it.
If we even decide to get to it. We might just decide not to get to it tonight.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, or we'll just go around it.
Yeah.
No, if you put something in there, well, not anything. You might want to challenge us. See if
Chris
we'll read it or not.
Promises I have no intention of
Yeah, you're right. No. You know what? I'm going to end this part. Let's just jump on to news before we get into trouble.
Too late.
Latest news from the Washington State Geocaching Association. Election season has started. election season's kind of going all around the
I think that
country
was until
here.
November for you guys.
Yeah, it's a while away, but you wouldn't know it right now. Okay. The WSGA is looking for candidates who are interested in serving on the board at all positions in the 24-25 board. Now, the tenure begins the 1st of April and runs through the end of March 2025. Positions are open. What?
No kidding. Begins the 1st of April?
Yeah.
No
all positions are open. If you're interested in being a chapter representative, you're required to reside in that chapter you want to serve. Now, executive committee positions, the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, they're open to all Washington state residents. So if you're interested, go to wsgaonline.org, follow the links, and let us know.
Very cool. And thanks to everybody who has been serving in those volunteer positions for the WSGA and for the BCGA, although it's not their election time right now. But, you know, it's nice to have people who are willing to give back to the geocaching community. And thank you to everybody who is willing to do that. And a reminder, Chris, what's the website again?
wsgaonline.org.
Right, not WSGA. Just don't stop there, because then you're going to go to the Golf Association.
Yes, the Washington State Golf Association. And that's not the organization we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the Washington State Geocaching Association.
There you go. All right. Hey, we got a little bit more news. We got lots of news tonight. So Tracy, we're gonna ask for your forgiveness, because it's going to take.
We haven't forgotten you're there yet.
No, we have.
Great.
We usually get to the guest a little quicker than this. All right. We do have an important reminder here for everybody that we've lifted from the geocaching.com blog. It is the reminder that there's a special souvenir this year that you don't get every year, but you might get every 4 years. Hint, hint. That's right. It's the Leap Day souvenir. Every February 29th is a frenzy of activities, especially if you're one of those people who likes to get their badges and the add-ons to the badges and all that cool stuff you can do. Well, fill your calendar grids, host events, fit 4 years worth of geocaching into one day. Why not? But in the spirit of making up for lost time, it is 2024's Extra Day with an extra special souvenir from geocaching.com. How can you earn the souvenir, you ask?
Oh, how can you earn the souvenir, I asked?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked. Well, we didn't ask what a glow is, but we are asking how you can earn the souvenir. Well, HQ tells us to enter through a wormhole, which feels like a tight squeeze, and earn Leap Day 2024 souvenir by logging any 4 geocaches events or Adventure Lab locations specifically on February 29th. So what kind of geocaches will count for the souvenir? Well, folks, we got traditional caches, we got multi-caches, we got your virtual caches, we got your letterbox hybrid caches, we got any kind of event cache, we've got your mystery caches, we've got your webcam caches, we've got your earth caches, we've got your Where I Go caches, and we've got your Adventure Lab locations. That's right. Come on down to Crazy Monkey's Geocache Extravaganza. Log 4 and get your souvenir.
Is there anyone that they missed? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So do you need 4 of all one type?
I don't know. I'm out. I'm tapping out.
You're tapped out? That was it? You couldn't even get through the whole news article. Okay.
I gave it my all, man. I went in 110% on that news story.
Oh, hey, let me pick up where Land Monkey left off. You can mix and match those types. You could get one event and a webcam and a mystery and a traditional, and bam, you've got it. Right? Each cache logged on this rare date represents one find of the non-existent February 29th dates of the past. We're not saying that time travel exists, but this might be pretty close. So save that date. I believe it to be a Thursday.
Wednesday?
I
feel like it's a Wednesday.
No, it's a Thursday. We'll have a podcast tonight.
Oh, well, you'll have a podcast. I'm going to be on a ship.
Dude.
What?
Okay. Save that date and make sure you come to the podcast, but also go out and get a couple of caches.
Get 4.
Oh, get 4. Okay. There it is. It's a Thursday.
It's It's a Thursday.
Thursday at 3:30.
There we go. Oh, you just alienated all of our Irish listeners. Mission accomplished.
I did tell you that story, right? I got a cold call from a vendor, and he wanted to set up a meeting, and he was speaking in this thick Irish accent. And he goes, "How about Thursday at 2:00?" No, 2 doesn't work for me. How about 3:30? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. You're going to have to say that time again. Thursday at 3:30. Okay, perfect. And then somebody else came and it wasn't the same. So anyway,
there you go.
We do have more news. Have you revitalized a bit of your energy, or do you want me to read this one as well?
I got some liquid death going here, so I'm back on track.
That doesn't answer the question, actually.
Surprisingly, it helps more than you would think based on the name. So, hey, listeners and viewers, we teased this last week, and now, if you listened last week and you went, ooh, I'm so excited, I can't wait till this week, and you came back for this, well, you're in luck.
I did.
If you totally had no idea we were about to talk about this, then you're luckier than you thought you were. All right. You have a chance, you, dear listener, have a chance to win great prizes just by helping us out. And here's how you can do it. Positive reviews on podcast hosting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Sounds very similar, Chris. I've heard that somewhere before.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Wherever you download Caching in the Northwest podcast, leaving a positive review helps us enormously. So, yes, there's a cost to you. It's going to cost you a little bit of time and a little bit of creativity, but we are going to reward you for your support. That's right. Leave a helpful review on the service where you download the CNW podcast, then share a screenshot or a link to that review on Facebook, Instagram, or X, Twitter, whatever you call that service, with the contest hashtag I love CNW. And why not, right?
Okay.
And you're automatically entered. Hey, maybe even add a little bit. You've got 250 characters to work with. Add a little bit of why you love CNW. You will be automatically entered. Prizes? Absolutely. You could win a gift from Land Sharks. I believe they're going to be donating a coin to the draw. Or our good friends at Tony's Coffee. That's right. They're also going to be having a prize thrown in there. So check into the show every week for more information, and we'll share some of those highlighted reviews as long as you do what I just told you.
Exactly like that.
And if you weren't listening, that's what rewind is for.
Oh, yes, that's it. Go back about 30 seconds. You'll catch it. Komakino says, my dyslexia made me read tonight's title as Rosebud, and I thought of Orson Welles. And I read that and I was like, wait, oh no, I spelled it right. Okay. But he got me. It was just like, wait, did I? Oh, okay. So tonight we're not talking about Rosebud. We're talking about Roseburg, and specifically discover Roseburg 13. Now use that hashtag Roseburg to let us know your thoughts and topics, because guys, we appreciate all the questions you ask. Oftentimes you're asking the same questions we are, and we want to give you credit for you having the same thoughts as we do. Yeah, or something like that. Maybe no, you shouldn't get to the thoughts inside our heads. Those are disturbing.
That's a bad idea.
So, Tracy, thank you so much. You made it this far into the podcast. Other guests have left at this point, so we thank you for staying. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your position and or title and all the important details?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you guys for having me on. We really appreciate getting to talk about this event with you. I'm Tracy David. I'm the Parks and Recreation Program Coordinator for the City of Roseburg here in Oregon. And I've been in this position for a couple of years. I'm working on my third year. And I'm responsible for creating the low-cost, free programming that we offer to the community. And this is not what I went to school for or anything like that. I started out in the animal world. I was a zookeeper for a while, and kind of worked my way into events in that world, and then slowly ended up working for the city. I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I was not born and raised in Roseburg. So yeah, I've learned a lot while I've lived out here, and I'm just really excited to be in this position. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, we welcome Midwest transplants. I'm one myself.
I was going to say, I think I heard a few woots out there in the audience, in the live audience from Wisconsin there. So that's great. I have a number of great friends who live in that region, and beautiful country.
Yeah.
Good place to be from.
Yeah.
GSM times 2 says he's encouraging. He says a zookeeper has the right skill set to be a guest on Caching in the Northwest. I feel like he's getting at something. I'm not sure what it is, so we're just going to move on.
Okay.
All right. So Tracy, great background. Thank you for sharing that with us, and we're really excited to talk about the free low-cost programming in the community that you're doing, in particular related to the game of geocaching, of course. Is this working with the Discover Roseburg event, and perhaps animal training, what has encouraged you to become a geocacher? Has that led down that path for you?
Yeah, and I've learned a lot just by putting the events on and kind of having to research things I don't like running an event and not knowing anything about the activity. So people ask me questions and I need to have some answers, right? So I definitely looked into it, and I'm still, I guess you could say, timid when it comes to caching, because I do feel like I look crazy, like I'm up to no good when I'm out there looking for a geocache, and I can't imagine how to just look nonchalant while I'm doing that. Like, I feel like everyone knows what I'm doing, or they're interested. So I am definitely still new to it.
I've been told carrying an umbrella makes you look nonchalant.
Oh, okay.
At least in Oregon.
Yeah.
That's how I was described one time. Oh, he looks very nonchalant carrying that umbrella.
Well, and it was specifically in Portland, so.
Yes, that's true.
I was always told people from Oregon don't carry umbrellas.
No.
If you carry an umbrella, you're obviously not from Oregon.
Touche. Or anywhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's rare occasions I carry an umbrella.
Yeah.
But that apparently was one. Well, welcome to the geocaching community, says CRS 98.
Thank you.
And by the way, it's impossible not to look suspicious while geocaching. Just
good. I'm not alone then.
No, we all look very suspicious. Now, this event that's coming up, the Discover Roseburg 13, can you tell us about it, what it is, where it's happening, and all the fun details about it?
Yeah. So it's our geocache series that was started back in 2011 by our Parks and Rec team back then. Val Ligon and Barbara Taylor were running the department, and they got the idea from an event that was held in Lincoln City. And they were able to kind of pick their brains. They went to the event, checked it out, talked with them, met with them, and decided to bring an event similar to that here to Roseburg. And we've had one ever since, except for 2021, actually, because we were able to squeeze it in 2020 before everything got crazy. So we're short 1 year, but each year our department hides 5 geocaches around Roseburg and the surrounding area. And then to make it more fun for people who are traveling that far, we're not just going to make you find 5 and that's it. So we add 15 other locations that bring people to maybe a new business or a new park or some area of interest in Roseburg. And that's why it's called Discover Roseburg. And to facilitate this, we give everybody a passport, and it lists all the 20 coordinates on there. And along with the coordinates is a question that you have to answer to prove you were there. And the first 200 people to turn their passport in receive our limited edition GeoCoin. And we host this one, it's just a one-day event, but a lot of people here, locals, they take their time doing this and they spread it out. And obviously this isn't the best time of year for outdoor discoveries. So a lot of people will wait till the summer and then get going on it. So yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Kitty Quest says, I haven't been to a Discover Roseburg event, but I have spent a couple of nights there and thought it was a very nice community. Got a couple of nice caches while passing through.
Very cool.
Subway Mark, who I'll be traveling to Roseburg with on Saturdays, he says, I've been to 2 Roseburg coin events. I love the train theme coin they had one year. Plus the McMenamins and the old train station is fun. Wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, as you've said you're someone who's still kind of getting her feet wet in the geocaching community. Do you have any level of surprise at the commitment or obsession that you see from the folks who come out to these events?
Definitely, like 100%. Yes. When I started, when I was hired, I had heard of geocaching. I'd never done it. And I actually told my boss when she's like, yeah, we have a geocaching event that you'll have to host every year. And I literally asked her, is that still a thing? Like, people still do that? Like, I didn't know. And yeah, but I do have to say I get more excited the more I plan and the more events I hold. And I learn something new all the time. And one of the goals I have this year is to really get out there more and make more of an effort to find more geocaches, especially outside of my city, because I think I looked to see what my stats were and I had like 11 finds and most of them were our ones that we hid like over the years. And I was like, that's embarrassing. So I was like, I got to get out there more. So yeah, it's definitely a goal of mine to get out there and get more active, but it's great seeing the enthusiasm from the people who come to the events and it gets me more excited about it. So I like that people are kind of crazy.
Well, you're on the right podcast then.
Yeah, exactly. It's only been about 548 weeks we've talked about all the different aspects of geocaching. So yeah, kind of a thing. And yeah, we're all kind of a little crazy. But you know what? It's good, healthy fun to get out and get exploring in our community, to move outdoors. I think it's fabulous. And, you meet some pretty nice people.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, when I say you, I mean the Roseburg Parks and Recs Department has done this for 13 years, give or take. How do you keep finding new locations to hide those physical caches to keep the event fresh?
It's very challenging. I don't know how. My boss before me, like, she was used to be the person who mostly did it, and I have no idea how she did it for so long. It's just like, there's just not enough places here. I mean, our city is relatively small. We have just under 25,000 residents, and there are going to be a few repeats, and there have been over the years. And I think we're moving to looking at businesses and private landowners and just kind of talking with them and asking if we can use their property. And most of the time people are fine with that. But as far as like the virtual locations that we're sending people to, even if it is a repeat location, there's always, or not always, but typically there tends to be a new business there or something new, something that's changed. And so we've kind of lucked out in that way. But last year was super exciting because I was able to theme it around the history of the city. And so all the locations were historical in some way. And so the locations were already kind of picked for me, I guess, in that sense. And what was cool is I was able to, since we're in the city and they're not out in the wilderness where you don't have an internet or anything, I was able to place some QR codes around those areas. So when people found the cache or went to the spot, if they wanted to, they could learn a little bit about where they were standing and how it tied into the history of the city. It was so cool, and people really liked it. So
That's very cool.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. To bring more history. I'm a big fan of history. To bring more history in and to apply it to where you are at the moment is invaluable.
Yeah, it was really great for me. Is not being from here, I learned so much about the city that I didn't know, and it makes me a better Roseburg citizen, I guess.
Now, when is the Discover Roseburg event typically held?
So the first Saturday in February I think it's always been held that day.
Okay.
So.
First Saturday in February.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, mark your calendars. If you're not making it this year, let's make it next year.
Yeah.
And I want to personally set a goal to see if we can get all 200 coins taken care of in the first weekend. And,
wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So, we're going to see if we have any influence.
We haven't even, I don't think there's been a year where we went through all 200 in the first year. I think this year was the closest because we only have 2 left, or, from last year, from 2023. So I think that's the closest we've gotten.
Very cool. There you go. The goal for.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Tracy, I'm gonna ask you to hop into the Wayback Machine here with us. I've got a Roseburg geocaching history question we want to dig into. So just hold on a second. I'm going to fire up the Wayback Machine. It usually takes a couple of pulls. Hold on. There we go. All right.
You must have changed the oil. It started up the first time.
I gave it a bit of a tune-up for the podcast tonight. Yeah, sometimes it's a little rough, but it's idling pretty good there. All right. So if we go back to when this all first came about, the Discover Roseburg geocaching events, what prompted the choice of using the game of geocaching?
Well, I think it was just an idea for something that was tackling both getting people outdoors and active, but at the same time increasing our tourism and bringing people to the city. And what was nice about that concept was we were able to use, and I guess use isn't the right word, but we were able to take advantage of some grant funding to put the event on. The city has a wonderful tourism grant that they offer, and we apply for it every year and use that funding to help cover the cost of our geocoins. And it really helped us out a lot, being able to offer it for free every year to the people. And I think that if anyone out there is working with Parks and Rec or a nonprofit and they want to put on a geocaching event, really keep your eyes out for something like that, because it can really make or break your event, help with your budget. So, yeah.
Yeah, there are several towns in Washington, Oregon, British Columbia, whose Parks and Recs put on a geocaching event throughout the year. And they are so well loved and well attended. So
yeah,
fantastic. We did have a question from GSM times 2. He wanted to know what the GC number of the event is. And because we have an incredible research department, Request came up with GC AGFK2.
Does that sound right?
I was just gonna look because I don't.
Not that I'm doubting.
Alpha Golf Foxtrot Kilo 2.
There you go. And yeah, Komikino is also confirming that Kitty Quest was right.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. And it's not that I was doubting you, Kitty Quest. I just wanted to make sure. I thought I would check with the expert, Tracy. Validate that. Well, hey, you were talking about the geocaching and the event bringing people into the community, which obviously is the goal. That's what the funding is being provided to help with. What do the local businesses and residents think of this crowd of geocachers invading their town annually?
Most people like it. They think it's cool and fun and interesting. And when, especially the businesses, because they want people to come and patronize their business. But when I talk with them about it, if I'm like planning on using them as a location, they get super excited. And most of them have heard of geocaching, and some of them have done it and some of them haven't. And, they just love us highlighting their business. And obviously our hope is that the people who are participating in the event come back after the event to these businesses to have, a beer or a sandwich or shop or whatever. And so, obviously businesses are happy happy to have these people come into their town and do that. But mostly it's been really positive.
Fantastic. So when we go into a business, we should say, hey, I'm here because I'm doing the geocache challenge here in your town. And they'll go, oh, yes, I know about that.
Yeah. In fact, one of our businesses is so happy. You'll be greeted with hot cocoa. They're going to have a big hot cocoa booth for everyone. So make sure you check it out.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's not too late yet to even post a will attend for this event. I mean, some geocachers, they don't even let you know they're coming, and it's a surprise. Here we are. But what should we do to get the most of the event? And can you tell us a little bit of what's going to happen on that day, on that Saturday?
So I would say one thing, if you really want to get the most out of the event, is just show up right at 9. There will be a line of people. It's just me and my boss who check people in and get them all squared away. So it can take a little bit. But, if you're there right at 9, ready to go, the chances are you'll get through it by 2 and way before 2 probably, and be, well on your way to enjoy the rest of your day or explore Roseburg on your own more. Also, I would say bring a pen or pencil with you. I mean, most cachers might, have that stuff with them, but it's
always good to remind them because sometimes they forget.
Yeah. And some of the ones we put in there don't have anything to sign the log with, so it would be helpful. But as far as the day of goes, it's really laid back, super simple event. I've done a lot of events in my life, and this one's like, this is it, but it goes so smoothly. It's great. So you just show up to Stewart Park. We've got a nice large pavilion that we'll be under. You'll get checked in, sign in, grab your passport, and off you go. Pretty much that's it. You'll just make sure you fill it out as you go along. When you bring it back, there's a little bit of information we collect from our visitors to help with our grant, make sure that we're bringing people in from out of the area, where they're from, how they heard about it, and then you'll get your coin. And I will mention that we have a wonderful partner, Roseburg Hampton Inn and Suites. They are our after hours. Wow, that's really hard to say. our after hours spot to turn in and collect passports.
Oh, nice.
And since we're a city business, we're only open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we're closed on holidays, which is when people go out and do geocaching. So it really helps us to have another location where people can collect their coins and they don't have to wait and come back into town or something like that. So if you're finished after 2 p.m. on Saturday, you can head over there and drop your passport off and collect your geo coin.
Wow, that's really nice to have a business that as a hotel is going to be open 24/7.
Yeah,
be able to help you with that.
And I think originally we partnered with them because they had a big conference room, and they let us use that the first year, I believe. And since then, we've moved to different places, but they've always been willing to help us out in that way, so which is great. So we appreciate it.
So there you go.
I was just going to say, Chris, that might be super convenient if you're staying there.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Absolutely.
If you're going to stay in the area, there's where I would choose.
Yeah, and people who've been doing it for at least a couple of years realize that, and like, oh, that's right. There's a drop-off spot in this hotel. We might as well just stay.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you happen to know if they still have rooms available?
I don't know. Besides them being our partner for this event, I will say that as a city employee, I'm not allowed to tell you which place to go to or recommend anything specific, but I'm just mentioning them because they're our partner.
Sure.
So I will say that, but there are like 15 hotels or something in the city. There's so many places to choose from. I'm sure that there will be room. And although I will say there is another event going on in town, but it's down at the casino. So most people stay at the casino if they're going to.
Gotcha.
You should be good.
We may have to fight a little traffic.
Yeah, just a little.
Okay. Now you've talked about the coin, and you're getting grants to fund the coin, which really that's kind of the motivation for the geocacher. I'm just going to tell you right now, to get that coin, they're going to go out and they're going to find 20 caches and nothing flat because they're really motivated. Can you give us a sneak peek or a description of this new geocoin?
Yeah, I wish I could. But it's been a tradition that we don't reveal anything about the coin until you get it, because what's the fun in that? Like, it's just a surprise, and it's actually pretty cool. People will try to guess or come up with some design in their head based on the locations they're going to throughout the day. And so then it's so fun to see their reaction when you hand them the coin and they're like, oh my gosh, this is cool, or it's not what I expected. Or so, and I think this year is different from anything we've done before. So I'm really excited about it. And so I can't show you this year's, but I do have some from previous years on hand that I could show you as well if you wanted to see.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
In fact, I've got a few of them.
Yes.
Here we can share as well.
Yeah. So this is the first one we did back in 2011, and they're obviously they're double-sided, so there's two different sides to each coin, and I wasn't involved with this one, obviously, but it's pretty cool. Pretty much, it really sums up Roseburg. If you look at both sides together, it's just like, that's what we are. We're forests, we're trees. And then the other side, I believe, is a salmon.
Is this the other side of it here? Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, okay. That's the back side of it. So, we're river. We got the Umpqua rivers that come right into town. So salmon and steelhead fishing is like really popular here. So the coin sums up the city. It's pretty amazing how they got all that onto one coin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you also sent us images from 2019.
Yeah, this coin, I just really liked it. It's fun. It's got the river on that one side, and this one I believe was one that took people down the North Umpqua. And a lot of the locations were along all the hiking trails and the North Umpqua Trail, which is 79 miles of trails outside of Roseburg. So
that's impressive.
It was really neat, and it's got a lot of dimension to it. When you hold it, it's a really interesting coin. So. And what I like about it is a lot of our coins have our logo on it, and the back of this coin, it's like an interpretation of our logo. I guess you can see it on my shirt, but it's like sun. There's like a sun, a slide, a tree, and a bike, and that's basically what that coin is, except a little more extreme. You're canoeing and fishing and mountain biking and hiking, all things you're going to be doing in Roseburg. So
nice. And it's not a standard round coin. This is rectangular. It's got a little different shape to it that makes it somewhat unique.
Yeah.
And then last year's coin, which I saw on Facebook earlier this month, and or last month, and I thought, oh, this must be the coin for this year, and it's not. It's last year's coin.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, because it was our sesquicentennial year.
How much fun is that to say? Sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial. Took me a while, but Roseburg turned 150 last year. So we themed our geocache event around that and made the coin kind of like a log, because we're a timber capital, and the backside is a literal replica of a photograph of downtown Roseburg from probably in the 1910s, because there's the sidewalk. But that was an actual business that was downtown, the Douglas Abstract Company. And it was really impressive. They were able to etch that in, and it just blew my mind. But something funny about this coin is, I don't know if you can see this, but this is the size of coin that we normally produce. It's 1.5 inch diameter coin. This is the size of the coin that we got. It's 2.5 inches diameter. And it was an accident. And we opened the box that they sent us these coins. We opened the box all excited. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is huge.
They're coasters.
An Olympic medal is what.
Yeah, they're like coasters. Yeah. But people loved it and it worked out.
I'm curious and looking at the design for that in this Douglas Abstract Company. Is that a company that nobody's really quite sure what they did?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Right next door was the Douglas Concrete Company.
Okay. Or the Douglas Far More Specific Company. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Very cool. That's a neat coin. So it's cool, the variation. You go for some where it's a lot of color and some where, as you say, as you said there, Tracy, there's maybe a little more texture or an unusual shape. And then last year where it's massive coin, but also for those who are listening on the audio who can't see these, not only is it a large round coin, but it's got that wood texture, or like a live edge around the outside of it. And then on the flip side, there where it says Roseburg 150, the tree rings in there. That's a really nice look to it.
Yeah, I really wanted the rings specifically because of the fact aging and trees age and our age, and so we were so happy with it. Oak Coins does our coins. I don't know if there's any other company out there that does them, but they do such a great job. Very happy with them.
Yes. Yeah, they do good work. Yeah, so that one, looks like a tree ring, or a section of a tree, cross section of a tree, and I think for 150 years that plays very well.
Yeah, people love it.
Nice. Right. Well, we know.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, were there 150 rings? Not quite. Well, there could have been, but however, that didn't quite come out on the coin. Maybe they needed a little bigger coin. Yeah. Maybe they needed something more like a saucer.
Yeah.
Or a dinner plate to get the 150 rings. But
So Tracy, I mean, this is a massive undertaking to plan this out and put the event on. We're assuming you don't just sort of pull this off on your own. Are there other volunteers that help you out?
Yeah. I mean, as far as building the caches and kind of bringing them to life, we definitely depend on our parks maintenance team. They have a lot of the equipment and the tools and then the know-how to help us bring our ideas forth. And we only have 2 people who work in the admin side of things in Parks and Rec. So it's just me and Val, my boss, who who used to be in my position. So we rely on people all the time to help us do things, and volunteers. And we are lucky enough, because we do work with the city, that we have some engineers in public works just down the hall. And they love lending us their expertise on if, this would be feasible. Like, this is what I have in my mind, help me make it. And they love doing that. Everybody likes kind of stepping into this world because it's better than the jobs they're doing on the regular basis, Yeah. They don't have to go sit in that meeting. They can, I got to go help Tracy design this fun thing. So it's really fun, and it brings our staff closer together. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting that it becomes a team building exercise for the city. The city
it does. Everyone kind of puts their thinking caps on, like, oh, how can we get this to work? Like, it's great. We also have a volunteer, Mike Baker, who helps do our dry run of the passport, make sure our coordinates are accurate and that the questions make sense, and just kind of lends a fresh set of eyes on that. Every year there's something that we need to fix, and we're just so thankful that he will take the time to help us do that and make sure that it goes well for everyone else. And let's see. Oh, right. The most important person, my husband. So most parks and recreation professionals know this, but when you're married, your spouse is basically obliged to help at all of the events. They are kind of a incognito employee. And in my case, I really lucked out. My husband's particularly handy, and he has helped me do a lot of constructing with some of these geocaches. So I really appreciate him spending his time helping me.
Fantastic. Now, GSM times 2 is asking, do you have any local geocachers help in any way?
I've wanted to pick brains on things, and I don't know. I guess I could have done it through the geocaching.com website and found somebody who was local and asked for their support and see if they wanted to help. But if anyone wants to help and you were at the event, like, stop by, leave me your info. I'm always willing to get some tips and advice, or if there's a picture of the event of another event that you really liked, and maybe we can add it to ours. Like, I would love to hear about it.
I guarantee you there are a couple local geocachers right there in Roseburg who all you have to do is ask and say, hey, could you help with the event? Could you help us place a few caches? Could you help us, get people their passports and that? And they would be more than happy to help out.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, I never really thought about that with the event itself, like volunteers. That would be great. So, cool.
So here you go. GSM times 2 saying the same thing. Host a coffee event for local geocachers. They'll come. And then you can talk to them and ask them, hey, we're going to do this on February 3rd. Can I get a couple of you to, come and man a booth or hand out coins or whatever? Yeah. And people are more than willing to help.
I love that idea. Thank you.
3Ham says, I hear you talking about the spouse. I'm always somehow helping out at my wife's hospital Christmas parties. The downside of being married to an administrator type.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. So is the planning work already underway for next year's event?
No, I mean, we're always kind of keeping our eyes out for like a new business or a cool location. And so we'll always keep that in the back of our mind or jot it down. But as far as the details and like placing, like where exactly we're going to put the cache and designing them and designing the coin, we really don't get started with it till about October. I think last year I started a little early because there was a little bit more involved in the event. But I think this year I started in about October and got everything done. So every year I feel like I get a little bit better at it, a little faster.
I bet.
Yeah. And it comes with practice.
Yeah.
Now, you showed us pictures of some of the previous coins. Do you have any of the previous year coins?
Yeah, so the Parks and Rec team actually has one like archived from every year. So we have a stash of all of them. We can always go back and look at them, see if we did that already, or
Oh,
it's
nice.
nice to reference like, oh, I really liked this about this coin, and then when we're ordering, we can reference that coin since they know
Mhm.
which one we're talking about. And we do have some past coins that people can still turn in passports and receive. So I think at the event, we are going to be there with the 2018, 2019, and 2022 coins. If anyone doesn't have those and wanted to try that out, we have passports and
Okay.
we'll have coins.
Because Subway Mark's asking any of the 2023 coins left, but you said that was your most popular year so far.
Yeah, we only have 2 left that I know of, and so they're gonna probably go quick at the event. I would think that somebody would bring their passport from because that happens every year. So yeah, so we'll probably get rid of those pretty fast. So
if you're showing up hoping to get your hand on those dinner plate size coins, be mentally prepared to be disappointed.
You're not going to get a set of 8 to host a dinner party, is all we're going to say.
Yeah.
Very cool. So curious, like it appears from the coins and from what you've shared with us, there's kind of a theme to the year. You talked last year was the sesquicentennial, and so there's a history theme and such. How do you choose the themes for each year?
Well, back in the beginning, the themes were chosen based on what the draws to the area were. So, like that first coin, the salmon and fishing related coin. And then I think we had the second year was something about waterfalls and sending people through the Umpqua National Forest to check out waterfalls in the area. Which would be so fun. The third year took people to the vineyards in the Umpqua Valley, and they made it back sober, I guess. And now, 13 years in, it's a little difficult to come up with a theme. So sometimes it ends up just being like, hey, I found these locations that I want to go to, or these new businesses, and there happens to be a common thread between them. So let's run with that as a theme. Last year, like I said, we just lucked out. It just fell in my lap. It was perfect. It's too good to be true. I wish it would always be like that, but but that's okay. And sometimes it's just my personal preference. I'm just thinking, I want to do this theme.
Nice. Now, as you said that, most administrators have a spouse that's required to come. Most geocachers have a non-geocaching spouse. We like to call them muggles in the geocaching lingo. What can our muggle spouses do and see why their significant other is off caching?
Well, there's an endless list of things they can do. Like I said, a lot of wineries in the area, breweries as well. They could hang out at. We actually, for Roseburg, it's a big deal, but it might not be for big cities. But we have a meadery here.
Oh,
if you're into that, it's relatively new, and they're just the really great owners. So I definitely encourage you to check it out. But if you're looking for something more active, we have 3 outdoor golf courses, 1 indoor golf simulator if it's raining. There's 2 disc golf courses in the area. There's hiking trails, like I mentioned, along the North Umpqua if you're willing to drive a little bit. If you're looking to get a little aggression out, there's an axe throwing place in town that's really fun.
I like that.
Yeah. And if wildlife is more your thing, there's a cool wildlife park called Wildlife Safari. It's a 400-acre drive-through park just south of Roseburg. It's where I had some of my animal experience at, so
okay.
I know it well. And I just recommend looking into experienceroseburg.org. They have a full list of things to do in Roseburg, places to stay, places to eat. Like everything you could think of is in that website. So it's a great one to check out. Oh, and like I mentioned before, that Greatest of the Grape is the event that's happening the same day as geocaching in the evening. So after geocaching, if you are interested in checking out the wineries, just go to this event because they're all going to be there and you don't have to drive around and you get to taste them all. And that's happening down at the casino about 20 miles south of town.
Wow.
You can
Nice.
geocache all day and then taste different wines all night.
I know. We should team this up every year. And I didn't know.
Nice. Or have the breweries host something next
year. Yeah. IHAM says Roseburg isn't horribly far from Crater Lake National Park as well.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're going to go from Roseburg to Crater Lake, you might as well stop at Diamond Lake on the way because that's a really great resort and snow area too.
There you go. So much to do.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You really need to stay for the weekend at one of the 15 wonderful hotels. One we might have a preference for, but we can't mention it.
and speaking of coming and staying, in order to get the grants, I'm assuming you need to be collecting a certain amount of information from the folks who are coming down, which in my experience usually is something that people will put on or asked to put on the passports to help you make sure you're able to fund the next year. Okay, yeah, good. So maybe also a reminder for folks of the importance. Like some people are like, I don't want to fill all this out.
Yeah.
But a reminder, you fill it out because you want to come back next year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, Tracy, I was just going to ask, do you have stats that you keep from the previous years?
Yeah. So I think we have stats back as far as 2015 that I could find. Okay. But just like looking at the past 3 years, before COVID hit, in 2020, there was about 180 people or so at our event. And then once we got back to things, the number dropped a little, which I wasn't surprised about, but we had about 140 people, which is still a pretty good size event for that time. And then last year we saw 197. So that was amazing. And we just hope the number keeps going. So come on out this year.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. Now, Tracy, we're pretty sure, we're not exactly sure, we're pretty sure the Roseburg Parks and Recs department does other things throughout the year. Do you have anything else you may be working on? I mean, this geocaching thing, that's enough for us, but there might be something else you're working on throughout the year. Yes.
Always working on something. But as far as the events that you might want to travel down here for, we have a really fun movie series in the summer that we do, mostly for kids and their families. But Movies in the Park is every Friday night in June in Stewart Park. And if you're going to be in the area anyways, we really encourage you to come out. It's a free event. And, we sell some concessions and popcorn. And there's usually before the movie some sort of entertainment. Like we have a local hula group who does hula dancing sometimes, or our local community theater did SpongeBob SquarePants one year, and they were going to come out and do a little scene from that. And they've also done The Wizard of Oz. So there's always something going on before the movie. So it makes it a whole night of entertainment, which is great. And then we also have like some fitness classes that we do outdoors because we're obviously about getting people out and active. So we do like yoga and Zumba and stuff all summer long. Again, that's all free. And one thing we did this year that we've never done before is host a puzzle competition where you get these teams of 4 people and everyone races to complete the same puzzle. And that was really fun. And I didn't think it would be that popular, but man, we had a lot of people that wanted to do that. We had a wait list and we had to turn people away. It was so popular. So
you're going to have some crossover from the geocaching community in that as well.
Yeah. A little crossover.
What a neat idea.
But besides specifically what Parks and Rec offers, the city itself has a really great bustling summer. And we do a concert series called Music on the Half Shell. And some huge names have come here to perform. Wow. And that's every Tuesday night in July and August in Stewart Park, these live concerts. And they're just like, they're so popular and so fun. You can bring a glass of wine or a bottle of wine and set up a picnic and just listen to music. And then we also have an amazing graffiti weekend in the first weekend after the 4th of July, with all these classic cars, like more cars than you could ever imagine. And there's 22 individual events that take place over that weekend. So it's super packed with stuff to do. There's people everywhere. It's so fun. So I encourage you to come out for that.
I am beginning to think geocaching is not your main focus.
Well, I can see why I don't have too much time to do it on my own, but
Exactly. Wow. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a little bit of business here and we'll come right back to you. So
sounds good.
Folks, thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Absolutely. And again, as always, we want to take a moment to thank our corporate Denali level sponsors. That's landsharkz.ca, Land Sharks, the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. They're shipping those orders daily. And for absolutely amazing geocaching adventures in the great Canadian outdoors, check out exploregoldcountry.com right after you check out experienceroseburg.com. All right. And we want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters. That is Land Sharks, Gold Country Geotourism, Groovy Owl, Cool Cow Cachers, and Cachly, the geocaching app. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this here podcast, go find that Patreon link right over there on the cachingnw.com website.
Like Whidbey Island Gal did.
And Seabeck Tribe.
Kev MacD.
Antaeus.
Just Carlo.
Gas Station Tuna.
B Pendragon.
Green Words.
Boomer 365.
CRS 98.
Camp Clan. Congratulations.
Finding our way.
I lost it. You, Dak.
Alarobrick.
Limax.
LG 9000.
Ari 54321.
The GeoNav Pro.
GSM ×2.
Dora Moore.
Trexer.
Subway Mark.
Kid Vegas 19.
J-Car.
Genies.
Sege Hove.
Mountain Bike.
Flagman.
Logwork.
Korscott.
MC3 Cats.
Nervous Energies.
Peach of Washington, maybe.
Kitty Quest.
Wino Seattle.
Wet Coaster.
Skyhawker.
BC Rock Crawler.
Ackerdoc.
Geocaches.
M-Nerve.
Team Noltex.
And somebody I just saw last night, You Talks to Rocks. Folks, thank you for taking your time to spend the evening with us. Now, Tracy, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
I'll probably email.
Works for me.
Yeah. We have a nice email. It's parks@cityofroseburg.org. Or you can also send us a message through our Facebook page at Roseburg Parks and Recreation.
Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. Now, if you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. If you didn't like the show, let us know what you want to talk about. But if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and leave us a review. You know, I said that was important last week. Now you know why. you can win fabulous prizes. If you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. And of course, you can always call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or meet us in Roseburg any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingandw.com. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific for a live show and chat. This show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2024 by Chris Umfenauer. In fact, folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show. It's Jim.
Whew, the after show. Let's see. We have a couple of FATAs. I can't believe it.
Do we?
Kitty Quest says, trackable on its way from Lost Ken to Land Monkey was dropped off in Vancouver at Bug Girl's event on Wednesday. Getting closer.
Ooh.
I hope you know something about that.
I think I saw a message come in, a geocaching.com messenger message come in from Bug Girl, something to that effect. I am really behind in keeping caught up on my social media messages. I'm a little too busy at work lately.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
What else? We have another one from GSM Times 2 that wants to know how many people are taking off February 29th to geocache. Tracy, this is a really big thing because it only comes around once. There's a couple of websites that will track what you have done, what type of cache you have on that day, and how many. And that's important. We really like numbers and stats.
Yeah.
In this game. So that's an important one for us.
There you go. Interesting question from Subway Mark for you, Tracy.
Yes.
He's curious if he's planning to do the geo tour, or not the geo tour, sorry, the caches for the event. If he's planning to do it with a like a handheld GPSR, is there the ability to download coordinates? Will someone have a laptop there to help with that?
We've never had one in the past there. Okay. No one's ever needed it. We could do that. I don't know how to do that. So
probably not with this little
the computer to do that. I could bring something for that, but we've never had to in the past. No one's ever asked about it.
That may be someone from your local geocaching community could help out with that.
For sure.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get somebody for next year.
And maybe I missed this earlier, but so you hand out the passport. So are the coordinates and the GC codes all on the passport when you hand it out? So
So obviously you can use the app for the geocaches, but for those virtual locations, which I just learned this. I for years have been like, how are people putting these into something and seeing them all on a map at the same time? Because I could not figure out how to do it anywhere. And I finally figured it out this year. And so now, because I feel like everybody, maybe not everybody, but some people have the same question. So I made huge signs on how to do it. So, but all the passports have everything that you need on them, but then you'll need a smartphone or a GPS or something to use those coordinates. But
sure.
Makes sense.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's all we have for tonight. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. And Tracy, you too. Thank you so much.
Thanks. It was
Until
so much
next
fun.
week. It was, wasn't it? Until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.